a bad
Very
hair
around.
day, so I need to. Yeah, I need to.
Yeah, but the
Yeah,
big story
I'll
on
try
the
to.
East Coast.
I may wait till 11 and get on there quickly, and then I gotta do my workout today. But I'll call in sometime, and looking forward to a good meeting. And I think I think for me, I'll just end with Black History Month. I challenge folks to find Black leaders out there, not just in the conventional, but people that have done things, whether it's in innovation, jobs, technology, in politics. We've got the first Black woman mayor of Zebulon. We've got the first Black mayor of Fuquay Varina, Bill Harris. But when you get out of politics, one guy that I talk about a lot, and I hope one day they make a movie about him, is Arthur Ashe.
Right.
As a former tennis player, you look at a guy that was the only Black man to win Wimbledon, the only Black man to be number one in the world. He beat all the greats. He captained the Davis Cup. He died tragically of a transfusion, which gave him HIV. He also played in apartheid during apartheid in the South Africa Open, and survived death threats and everything, and was such a great champion. And boy, he played a very finesseful game in back then the power game. But today, when you watch, congratulations to Carlos Alcaraz. Um, today the average ground stroke is about 130 miles an hour. Today, back then it was maybe about 65, 70 miles an hour, maybe less. And you just they look like they were hitting the ball hard. So, but Arthur Ashe, man, I mean, I tell you, and then of course the Williams sisters, who were kind of like his legacy. Um, Serena, probably the greatest of all time. So I'm on my sports thing right now. Olympics
Oh, yeah,
coming up.
sports is big. We got the Super Bowl coming up. Let's not forget that Althea Gibson was
Yeah,
a
Althea
person that
Gibson,
did have
right?
a movie made
Yeah.
about her. My friend Rex Chapman made that movie and all along those lines and everything like that. So he was definitely somebody that was celebrating her life, and he's done a lot of movies about various people and all along those lines. And just to let you know, and I oftentimes talk about it on our history talks when I'm working at the Hayti Center and everything like that. There is a picture of the Algonquin Club, which was a black tennis club in Durham, and all along those lines. And my dad was a member of that tennis club and actually had the pleasure of playing Arthur Ashe, who I believe is either fourth or fifth from the right in that particular picture. And as he showed me and my only brother, younger brother, and everything like that, that he played him and played him competitively. He did not. He did not beat him, but I think the final score, because it was in the newspaper and they were both kids at the time, was something like 6'4", 6'5", 6'3". So he played him competitively, so he didn't like get routed by him. So that was good that he was playing one of the greats of history in terms of Arthur Ashe, and he did not get routed by him. So we take great pride in that, the fact that he didn't get routed by the great Arthur Ashe.
Speaking of getting routed, your state is getting routed by weather. I just saw it on the news. It's 14 degrees and blowing houses over.
Yeah, blowing
Well,
houses in the beach
again,
over and stuff like.
I'll be back at 11:30 for the last half of the show. Thank you so
No
much.
problem. No problem. Take it easy. But yeah, we're getting routed by weather. Right now it's not that bad. There is snow on the ground and everything like that. But other parts, like I think Greenville got several inches, and that's where East Carolina is. Like you said, there have been houses that have been blown onto the water over there in the coast of North Carolina, and there are other places. So we're not used to snow and bad weather. So this is definitely something different for us and all along those lines. It's not like being someplace like Siberia or even Minnesota or even where I went to school in Milwaukee, where this is the norm. This is not the norm for us and everything like that. I was going to ask you a question because you keep track of statistics, and there is this Pataki field that tries to predict the weather. It's a
Punxsutawney
groundhog
Phil,
and
yep,
everything like that. So,
Punxsutawney, yeah.
what did Pocatani say this time around?
He says 6 more weeks of winter.
6 more weeks of winter is what Pocatani
Yeah. Yeah, he's
is
also
predicting.
the star of one of the best movies ever made, Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day. That was a great movie. Wasn't Bill Murray in that one?
Bill Murray, Andy McDowell, Chris Elliott.
Yeah, a lot of great folks. One thing that we didn't touch based on your show, but
Stephen
um,
Tobolowsky.
yeah, good. One thing we didn't touch base on your show last night, but
Oop,
I know a lot of people
frozen.
were interested in it. It might have been going on while we were recording part of it, or it just ended. Was the Grammys? So, what are you hearing about the Grammys? I understand that Bad Bunny made a very pleaseful announcement, and I
Yeah,
think it had to do with
so
Ice and
I'm just reading about it now. Couldn't watch it, but the music people are known for being outspoken.
Right.
At the Golden Globes last month, I think they told people to keep it down. Let's have a friendly, happy, drunken time. But the Grammys, people spoke out about, anti-ICE stuff. The thing that was craziest to my wife is Chappell Roan, I think is her name. She showed up in a dress that was where the straps were held up by spikes through her nipples.
Oh, wow. That's
so
crazy.
Her boobs were entirely out, which is like a first. I mean, people have worn see-through stuff before, but here the straps started here, and then just the dress didn't even start till the bottom of her rib cage.
Oh, wow. There's a lot going on there and everything like that. So yeah, I knew that there was different things. I didn't get a chance to watch many of the reruns and to see what was happening in that particular place, but I'll go back and watch some of the
It's
reruns.
A tough room. Yannick, what's his name? Noah. Frickin'. Senior moment. But anyway, musicians aren't necessarily the most appreciative of the host sitting there telling jokes. And it's a huge room, so like 2,500, 3,000 people, and if they're all not laughing, I worked on that show writing some jokes one year, and boy, I mean, it's tough.
Say musicians aren't known for being comedians or liking comedians?
For necessarily, they want to see who's going to get the awards. They're not there to frickin' laugh, and it can be a tough room.
Who got the Legacy Awards? Because when I think of Legacy Awards, I know in the past Quincy Jones, the Beatles, and others have gotten Legacy Awards, is what I call them. But it's like the awards for those that have been doing, having a history of music and being great legends in music and all along those lines. So who got the Legacy Awards? Do you see?
Let me see.
Because they usually honor somebody like historical.
Let's ranking. Okay, here, Dr. Dre, Global Impact.
Okay.
Oh no, wait, that's the name of the award. The Dr. Dre Global Impact Award went to Pharrell Williams.
Okay.
Special Merit, which is Lifetime Achievement.
That's what I was thinking about. Yes.
Oh man, it tells me about the award. Where is that? Come on, everybody. Now I don't know if they give it in memoriam. Tributes included D'Angelo, Roberta Flack.
Yes.
Ozzy Osbourne. So album of the year, Bad Bunny. Right. Record of the year, Kendrick Lamar featuring SZA. Song of the year, Billie Eilish. Best new artist, Olivia Dean. I don't know why it's not giving me a Lifetime Achievement. Let me try again.
Just type in Lifetime Achievement. I know that I think that I got a email from some of Kev Mo's people, and Kev Mo, I think, was going for the blues album of the year or something like that. So there's also different categories like
Here we go. Lifetime Achievement went to Carlos Santana, Chaka Khan, Cher, Fela Kuti, Paul Simon, and Whitney Houston.
Oh, those are all great folks. I didn't recognize one of those names that you said, but everybody else
I don't know Fela Kuti.
Yeah, that's the one I didn't recognize. The rest of them I recognize and everything.
There were more. Because the Grammys is like the most awardy show there is. They give out so many awards in overlapping categories, it can be confusing. The Trustees Awards went to Bernie Taupin, who was Elton John's songwriting partner, right. Eddie Palmieri, and Sylvia Rhone.
Okay, Sylvia Rhone was very much involved in the rap game and all along those lines. She was definitely behind many great folks. I think she's behind Grandmaster Flash and a number of other great rappers and all along those lines. But she was definitely a person that was very much involved in the rap game for a number of years.
So Cher presented an award and walked off stage. She forgot to actually name the winner, I guess. Let's see what happened here. Cher tried to walk off stage and struggled to read a winner's name in a series of gaffes that ended the Grammys. Not forever, just for this year.
Just for this year. And we got
she accepted a Lifetime Award, and then she was supposed to read the Record of the Year nominees. I don't know. Anyway, stuff happens.
Yeah, stuff happens. And Jacoby, before we get to some stuff around Dr. Sharif, I don't think that I gave Sylvia her flowers the way that she deserves them and everything like that, and all along those lines. So, what do you remember about Sylvia Rome? Because I know she was a pioneer in the rap game, and I want to say she was behind Grandmaster Flash, but don't quote me on that and everything like that. So, what, if anything, can you say about Sylvia Rome and her contribution to music?
Well, I didn't really watch the Grammys last night, and I didn't really, I don't really have an answer for that one. Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, yeah, I think she was behind Grandmaster Flash and that whole and the Furious Five, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that she was into so much. So
Yeah.
outside of that, I don't really have much to answer on that one.
No problem at all. Dr. Sharif, I know that Bangladesh has been in the news quite a bit. There's been a lot of things going on, from political upheaval to some, I think, some natural disasters and other stuff that's been going on in your country. So what's going on in your part of the world? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Yes, as we have elections, so people has full focus on elections. So 12th of February we have elections, so we have around 171 million people. So all of the people heavily engaged with these political activities. And definitely Bangladesh is a very small country compared to USA, and USA has a lot of influence in Bangladesh politics and diplomacy, including South Asian diplomacies and other. And beside that, everybody expecting after the election, economics and other activities will enhance in our country, and by this way we can improve the economic, social, and political things. But one thing, as regularly everybody follow social media, the latest Epstein file release, including all of the famous men name, I saw in the social media. All of the people heavily sharing these things, not only in Bangladesh, in around the world. I think Jatavi can give some sort of explanations about this new file. This is good that in Western world they actually have their independent, their judiciary and all of the things, and hopefully through this process we can identify that what's going on with this all of the famous men, including the billionaires, the politicians. Even I see that Narendra Modi's name also come to theirs, also Dr. Muhammad Yunus or ICDDRB from Bangladesh. It has some sort of connection, but I see that it has a huge criticized, huge. I do not see last 5 or 7 years, I do not see so much of criticize about the Western world politics, all of the billionaires through these Epstein files. Even though the Bangladeshi politicians also doing a lot of criticize and other things. I do not know, but what I see from Asia, this Epstein file scandal may create a huge negative impact with US political, economical, and philanthropic initiative. It's questionable right now. Yeah, thank you.
Right. So, to go back to the Grammys for a sec, I have some of the anti-ICE quotes. Bad Bunny said, "Before I say thanks to God, I'm going to say ICE out. We are not savage. We are not animals. We are not aliens. We are humans, and we are Americans." Shabuzi said, "Immigrants built this country, literally, actually, so this is for them, for all children of immigrants. This is also for those who came to this country in search of better opportunities, to be part of a nation that promised freedom for all and equal opportunity to everyone willing to work for it." Joni Mitchell, who's 82, won her 11th Grammy, was wearing a brooch that said ICE out. Olivia Dean said, "I'm the granddaughter of an immigrant. I'm the product of bravery, and I think those people deserve to be celebrated." Billie Eilish said, "No one is illegal on stolen land. I feel really hopeful in this room, and I feel like we just need to keep fighting and speaking up and protesting, and our voices really do matter." So there you go.
I appreciate that. Speaking of voices really mattering, and I heard about it first from you, and then I did read about it later and everything. What is our panel's thoughts about Trump deciding to close the Kennedy Center for 2 years because apparently he wants
He's
to
a
rewatch it, and he's also
a-
upset about some of the people that have resigned.
he's a spiteful putz. He puts his name on it on the center. A bunch of people, like in protest, decide they're not going to play there, and so he's just going to take his ball and go home for 2 years. He says for renovations, but no, it's because he's a fucking dick.
Yeah. Jacoby, any thoughts around this? This is the latest Trump move and everything like that he's going to close the center for 2 years and all in this space.
Rick said exactly what I would have said. That's
Also, Richard Grinnell is his like lieutenant in this, and Richard Grinnell said, "Well, the artists who were canceled, they're not really supply and demand artists. There's no demand for them, and they've been like, you know, the government has held them up, and you know the Republicans are the kings and queens of having talent that really can't make." Get hired in the legit entertainment world anymore. You're freaking Rob Schneider, who's mostly his jobs are his buddy Sandler will put him in movies, and Hercules. Kevin Sorbo.
Kevin Sorbo.
They're not ones to talk about artists who can't get jobs.
Well, speaking of artists that can't get jobs, I mentioned it on your show yesterday or earlier this morning. Today is National News Literacy Week, and I did finally see the fullness of the commercial and the gist of the commercial that's airing and everything. There's actually a whole newsliteracy.com, I believe is what it's called, and all along those lines. But part of what they were talking about is something that we talk about quite often on this show, which is the notion of there's so many fake images, whether it's AI generated or whether it's legitimate sources, and how kids and teenagers can differentiate between those real and fake sources. So we know that even Trump has been a master of fake sources. So what is your thoughts around this during National News Literacy Week, which I believe started today and runs to the 6th? So it's pretty much the whole work week.
So if you're willing to take every story and every picture you see and like Google about it and triangulate it and check it out, then you can maybe tell the difference all the time between real and fake, but nobody has time for that. And we're bombarded with stuff all the time, and stuff is going to get past you, and you're going to end up buying some bullshit just because of the. So I'm going to beat the drum for my idea, which is get rid of the foreign language requirement in high school. Everybody takes a foreign language in the high school. Nobody can speak that language after 3 years of it. I took French. I can't speak French. I can say "va te faire foutre" in French, which is a very bad thing, and I can count to like 5. But that's about it. Take that chunk of the curriculum and replace it with what you said: news literacy, information literacy, how to not be made crazy by propaganda. Teach civics, teach statistics. Teach people the tools to live in the modern frickin' world instead of learning how to conjugate French verbs.
Hey, Nick, you're back. You're back from Turkey and all along those lines. So what is it like being back in the area and everything like that? What did you learn in Turkey, and what do you think of National News Literacy Week?
National Literacy Week?
It's News Literacy Week, which is trying to differentiate between the fake and the real news. And this
that is not going to work. Obviously, not in the United States, because they're full of fake news over there. I mean, it dominates the media. Okay, but I can give you a report on Turkey.
Please.
Right? Because the first time I've ever been to Turkey, in Istanbul. First of all, it is the largest city in Europe. I mean, 16.5 million people. It's bigger than New York City, number one. Number two, the economy in Turkey is 1.7 trillion a year, which is pretty respectable, almost what, like Texas or Florida. It has a pretty good economy. Okay, so that's the good part of Turkey. And the average person makes, 20 to 50,000 a year, something like that. So they're not doing poorly. Istanbul is the most visited city in the world by tourists, because people from Bangladesh come there, people from Indonesia, people from Canada, they all come to this crazy place because it's in the middle of everything. Now that's all the good part. Food is best in the world. I mean, better than Spain. I hate to say it, but it's true. Okay, better than anything in the United States. Your food sucks over there. It's all fast food. Oh, they love your fast food, but it sucks. That's the reason everybody's so fat. Okay, but now here's the bad news. You'll love the inflation rate, Mark. Okay, you guys are complaining of what? 2%?
2.7.
Okay, try 50% inflation. And they've got it down now this year to 30% inflation. So I have my Turkish lira back there. Okay, so I brought some with me, but I have a little problem with it. Okay, you know, the thing is, you get like 50 lira, it's worth maybe $2. 200 lira, $5. Another 200 lira, you got $10. 200 lira. Okay, in 6 months, this is going to be worth 30% less. However, you can go to the bank and get 30 to 40% interest a year. I'm not kidding. So you have to be really used to working with this economy because the inflation is out of control. You know, so like I said, if you thought you had bad inflation, you're whining over there at 2 to 5%. Think Turkey.
Well, speaking of whining, did you get a chance to talk to any of the people, and are they whining about their leader? Are they whining about their leader? Because I know that their leader has been whined about on the global.
Look, there's no Americans. I didn't meet one American when I was there. Most of the people were from Indonesia, Japan, China. You know, that was the main part. Indonesia, China, Malaysia. Americans are. You know, you guys are isolated. You don't know what goes on beyond the borders of the United States.
Wait a minute, because I've spent some time when I was
okay, well, let me tell you what you guys are. Narrow-minded Americans.
But speaking of that, hold on a second. Don't we still have a base there? Because I remember when
you guys have bases
literally
everywhere.
60 years ago, my dad was stationed in Istanbul because I think I spent time in
Mark,
Istanbul.
you have 800 bases around the world. People complain about, and by the way, they hate Trump. If you guys like Trump, they hate Trump. They think he's an idiot. Okay, so the thing is, and by the way, they also don't like Erdogan, their own president.
Are they allowed to speak out against him? Or we hear he's a dictator, and that if you
but no, they speak out against him. Three tourist guide, all three of them, smacked Erdogan. They hate him. They think he's a bloody moron. Although the country's running overall fairly smoothly, for whatever reason, he's not a popular chappie, and they think Trump's an idiot. You know, I mean, you guys might like him, but let me tell you, the international community doesn't think much of him at all. Sorry about that, guys. And the thing is, part of it, like, and that's the reason I don't think he's going to last his term. He POs off everybody. You can't do that because ultimately, the roosters are going to come back to roost. And I don't think he's going to last. I think he's going to be gone within 3 years. He's not going to make it. So get ready for President Vance. That's all I can say. He's going to be impeached, but it's going to stick. And I think the Democrats are going to win the midterms big time.
So I got one more question about Turkey. So I just looked it up. Turkey is over 95% Muslim, yet they have a secular entertainment industry that puts up all sorts of sexy stuff. How does that work? How does?
You'll love this one. Okay, they say they're Muslims. By the way, they're mosque on every corner. Walk down the street. Oh, mosques are beautiful and they're everywhere. Okay, well let me tell you, they're Western Muslims. All right, they're totally different. They do not dress the code. And when the Imam does the call for prayer, sorry to say, Sharif, everybody ignores it. They go on with their own business. They are definitely Western people. They are not the Turkish people are not, your crazy Muslims. Oh, we got to do it. Nah, they don't care about any of that stuff. They're really, basically Westernized. I mean, you go there. I have pictures of the city. You might as well be in New York. I mean, it's just like New York City. They're very international, very modern. They're very up to date. And no, they don't give a rat's rear about Muslims versus Christians versus anybody. They don't care. And like I said, the call to prayer. When I was in Morocco, the call to prayer, everybody went. Call to prayer, everybody ignores it. So, so they're Muslim in name only. MINO. In other words, what can I tell you?
You'd recommend if you're going to visit any city in Asia, Istanbul is your place, right?
Oh, the food is great. By the way, the prices are high. Don't expect to get a good deal. Prague was very inexpensive. Eastern Europe is cheap. Spain is a bargain. Istanbul's New York prices. I mean, not as bad as New York.
Except for cosmetic surgery. I hear that Turkey is the place to go for really inexpensive hair transplants, and I don't know.
I heard that too. Right? Yeah, I heard that too. They do that, but I don't need a hair transplant right now, so I'm like not into it.
I could use a refresher. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, Istanbul has a lot to say for it. It is the most tourist city in the world. More people come to Istanbul than they do Barcelona, Madrid, Paris. I mean, and you can see, but mainly because of you know Dr. Sharif's friends. I mean, there's so many bloody Indians. Well, I didn't see many Indians. I saw a lot of Chinese. I mean, and Malaysians and Indonesians. They come by droves, and Japanese. They have direct flights nonstop to Tokyo, nonstop to Shanghai, nonstop to Beijing, nonstop to Russia. You know, Turkey doesn't care. It's all about Turkey, baby. You know, bring in the dinero, bring in the money to Turkey. So they have a whole different attitude and a way of life than the United States. And it's very upbeat, very interesting. Food is great, though. It's better. It's like New Orleans. New Orleans has the best food in the world. New York has the most, but New Orleans has the best. Well, Turkey competes with New Orleans as having the best food in the world. I can't believe it. Much better than Greece. Greece turned in. Well, I was in Athens, very disappointed because it turned into a tourist trap where they sell you cheap meats on the Palatka. And everywhere we went, we had a bad meal. How can you go to Greece and everywhere have bad meal? Everywhere you go to Turkey, have a good meal.
Isn't Athens like super smoggy, dirty air?
Yeah, but the dirty air goes everywhere. By the way, Dr. Sharif can comment on dirty air. Dhaka is way up there in the dirty air. In other words, the India and Bangladesh and the subcontinent have a lot of problems with the dirty air. You know, it's and some of it depends where the city is and the volume of people. You know, because Dhaka's like way up in the middle and it just traps all the dirty air. They got a big problem over there. And but Istanbul doesn't. The dirty air wasn't that bad. That was not really an issue, you know, because you're between the Bosphorus and the Dardanelles. I finally found out where the Bosphorus, Dardanelles, Sea of Marmara, and the Black Sea. We got to fly over the Black Sea. Black Sea's blue, but anyway, they call it the Black Sea. And we made a hard left as we were approaching Odessa. So sorry, what is college? You know, Sasha, we did not get to go to Odessa. They went up and they turned real quick, because they want to get hit by those Russian drones, you know, which is a real issue over there. And security. You go in the hotel, there's a bloody, you have to go through security to go into a hotel. You have to go through security to go into mosque. You have to go through security to go into a restaurant. I mean, and there are guards all over the bloody place. And so I asked our tour guide, I'm going, what's going on here, man? You got policemen with, you know, AK-47s all over the place. We have to go through. He goes, well, you'll love this one. There was a terrorist attack 16 years ago. Seriously, one terrorist attack that killed like 10 people. Like in the United States, you guys have it every bloody day. You know, you can't go a week without having a bunch of people getting slaughtered, and you don't care. In Turkey, it happened 16 years ago, and they put security gates everywhere, including my bloody hotel, the Intercontinental. I go, you got to be kidding. After they knew me, they let me through, but when you go through, you got to go through the security to go into your hotel, which found it interesting. And then you see the United States people cry, "Oh, we can't put security in our schools." They have it in every bloody hotel, idiot. You know, so there's a lot of stuff you can do in the United States, you just aren't willing to do, and so narrow-minded you don't go to see what other countries do, which includes in Spain a 10% real estate acquisition tax. Now I had to pay it. I didn't like paying it, but let me tell you something. That collects revenue for the government. You guys should have it, and you don't. And there's a wealth tax here too. I'm Jack Gargan on that. You know, it's not a big one, but they have a wealth tax. You guys don't have a wealth tax. You know, and so your Gini coefficient.
Billionaires own our legislators.
Well, you know, it's the 1%. The 1% in your country own 40% of all the assets. Come on. You know, that's ridiculous. You know, it's a winner take all game over there. and people make huge amounts of money, and then everybody else starves and eats like pigeons. Over here, they level it, you know. And who's that guy? You got this Mondami dude in New York who's trying to do it, but he doesn't know what he's doing. You know, he because he hadn't traveled outside of the boroughs of New York. If you ever went outside, he'd realize there are things he could do that would make sense by adopting some things that are done internationally. But what does he know? You know, like I said, outside of Manhattan and Bronx, he doesn't know anything. And that's part of the reason you travel, is that you do go to other countries, you experience the way they do things, and you adopt their best practices. And hopefully your immigration practices get better. You start bringing the best and the brightest overseas. You know, bring in guys like Dr. Sharif, steal him from DACA. He'll come in a New York minute. You know, he loves the United States. He doesn't know what's over here yet. You know,
He's been a couple of times. He's been to
the
Stanford.
United States has the ability to bring in the best and the brightest, and you won't do it. So China will be number one. It's like a football game. You know, the transfer portal is open. Grab the top players. If you don't, China will, and China will be the dominant in the next 10 years. They'll be the dominant country. It won't be the United States. You'll be number two. That's not bad. It'll be like Miami. We lost to Indiana, but Indiana won. You know?
Right here in our country, they released a bunch of Epstein files, and one of the stories, the headline on Drudge right now, is that some of Epstein's operations were financed by Russia. And
I would be. He was a great operator. As a matter of fact, it hit Lord Mendelsohn. We got the Epstein hits the BBC. See, we get the BBC, CNN here, MSNBC, but not Fox. It doesn't show up here. Okay, but it hit the Brits because Epstein was an operator. He operated internationally. He was an international sex trade extortionist. You know, and so he hit a couple of the Brits too, including Prince Andrew, and Lord Mendelsohn had to resign when these files were released. So I don't think the whole thing's played out yet, but we'll see what happens.
But the deal is, like, how did Epstein was a high school math teacher.
Yeah.
He hadn't even graduated college, and from there he eventually became something like a close to a billionaire. And so people wonder, how did he pull that off? And part of it seems to be that the Russians like getting compromised via honey trap. A honey trap is where you're the schlubby guy and a hot girl comes on to you and you have to bang her because you're a schlub.
She's too hot. Okay.
You just have to. And it turns out that where she takes you is her apartment is filled with cameras, and the running the cameras are the Russians, and then they come to you like a year later and say, well, we have this footage and we need you to do a little favor for us. And turns out Epstein may have been providing some of the compromise.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like, he ran basically an international extortionist ring and prostitution ring. The guy was incredibly bad. So what can you do about Epstein? And he did hit the Brits here. So it does get on the BBC because they were involved in some of the scandals that took place in the United States. So he spread internationally. By the way, the U.S. stuff, they love U.S. junk. They love your junk food. I can't believe it. In the airport hotel, there's Carl's Jr. In the airport.
Turkey?
What?
Where, in Turkey?
Carl Jr. If you go into Istanbul International Airport, there's a Carl Jr., a Subway, a McDonald's, of course, okay, a Tiffany's, a Gucci. I mean, all the brands, American brands, are there. I mean,
they get messed with, though. I went to Popeyes in London, and either they mixed the breading wrong or they've got a different recipe because it kind of sucked.
Yeah. Well, I don't eat at the American. Why would you go to Istanbul and eat a bloody McDonald's? I mean, come on. They have some of the best food in the world. You're gonna eat a McDonald's, right?
Well, sometimes they take the McDonald's brand and they turn it. They tweak the recipes to make them local, so you can get some.
Right. Yeah. No, I know, and they even have the facade there to be the local. Like in Ephesus, they had it look like the the old officias in Izmir the same way. So it's kind of interesting how they do it. I don't even know. Are there McDonald's in Dhaka? Have we, Dr. Sharif, you're here. Have we penetrated your city and stuck a McDonald's in the middle of bloody Dhaka? Huh?
Bangladesh people, they're big fan of American culture.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Even in China, we have
McDonald's
it. We have it. We have McDonald's and all of the things in Bangladesh. Yeah, we have McDonald's available.
Yeah, see that's the funny thing about it. The international people love the American culture, and they love like the music, the stupid music. So I'm at the top of the Intercontinental Hotel. What are they playing? American rap. Okay. I mean, are you kidding me? No, that's what they're playing. And they're playing American songs. It's all about they're all in English too, which
so everybody over there speaks English. Wherever you go, you can find
it's a smaller percentage, but the younger people tend to, and the older people tend not to. But they all speak a little bit because English is the language of the internet. So everybody learns. This is like I'm learning Spanish, because what the heck, if I don't learn Spanish, I can't get around Spain very well. So and talk to the people. So you have to learn a little bit about the language. But here the economy isn't as bad. They don't have the inflation. I can't get my hands around 30% inflation. We get our bill. It was for $17,000 for the hotel room. No, 17,000. Well, it's Turkish lira dollars, which aren't worth very much. So. Go figure. You just got to get used to it. And but they all take credit cards. That's good. And some of them want cash. I don't know why, but they want cash. And the thing that bothers me, which we're going to be talking about on the economic show, is the dollar is declining. I don't like that. Okay, when the dollar declines, it hurts moi, because I need a strong dollar so that I can buy stuff over here. When your dollar goes down, I can't buy as much stuff. So right now the dollar is in a
Well, I mean, that's kind of a Trump thing. The Trump made enemies out of the world with the tariffs, and our balance of trade is actually 4% worse now than it was before he became president.
Yeah, and another problem, they hold a lot of the American debt, and some of these sovereign funds are dumping the American dollar. You can't do that. I mean, you have to play nicely to all the participants in the room. You can't be a bully in a closet like this guy's doing and expect to go in there.
And when countries dump our debt, when they sell our bonds, the U.S. has to issue new bonds paying higher interest to persuade people to buy them, which means that we're paying more to service, because we're paying American taxpayers pay the interest on the bonds.
I know it's a big problem. And so the thing is, and also Norway has a sovereign trust fund, which is quite interesting. That they pay dividends to all the people in Norway, and they're not part of the EU. Part of it, I think, is because they have the oil money coming in, and they're paying their people dividends if you live in Norway. And see, that's what Venezuela needs to adopt. Venezuela needs to adopt the Norway sovereign wealth fund oil dividend that they do. But Venezuela, if they don't clean up their act, they're going to be where they are right now, which is
Alaska does the same thing. You get like
Alaska does the same thing. Yeah, so the model is there to turn these places around. But if they don't, they're just another their Venezuela isn't going anywhere. Hey, Sasha, I almost visited your city, Odessa, baby.
I've heard that, yes.
I was flying there, and then the pilot makes a quick left turn to get away from Odessa and those drones that are flying around there. But Istanbul is pretty close to Odessa. It's not a long flight, So it was pretty cool. But I haven't visited Odessa yet because I'm not sure going in a place where Putin has drones triggered on it. But the other part, it's probably pretty safe, relatively speaking.
Exactly right word, relatively speaking.
What?
It's
I mean, the U.S. is dangerous. I got to go. I'm going there this month, and I'm going gosh, going to the United States is like going to a war zone in of itself. You follow what I mean? So going to Odessa, I'm going, why not? You know, yeah, the bomb may hit you, but your odds-on favorite, that won't happen. You know,
I have
same
a
with
friend,
you.
school friend from Odessa. He's still there. He has
Yeah.
5 sons. One of them is in the front lines, and he is during the Russian attacks. He's hiding in the countryside because it's less dangerous. In fact,
Oh, really? The being of the city.
Yeah, they're mostly hitting the city buildings, the energy supplies. It's really horrible, but it's
Yeah.
still there. There's a game being played and all the negotiations. There's a Russian. They're changing their team. America is changing their team, so there will be more negotiations and so on. It makes everybody happy. Those warmongers who want war and win, okay, you have the war, enjoy yourself. Or those who want a peace, okay, there are peace negotiations as well. There's this team and that team and so on. So that should make happy people who want to have a peace negotiations. Peace eventually. There will be no peace, of course. We all know that. Putin is still following his agenda from 2022. He needs all Ukraine, not just this or that place, but he needs all of it. There will be no negotiations, no peace. No negotiations, yes, there are negotiations. There will be no peace agreement of any kind.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Ukraine is slowly taking over initiative on the front lines because they are killing more Russian fighters than Russia can recruit. So right now, the number that they want to get to 50,000 a month. And Russia can recruit only 30,000 a month. So there will be the numbers of Russian fighters are already decreasing. So this is no longer a war of territories. It's a war of killing enemy people. That's all. It's very simple. You don't need territory because when you kill enough people, the territory will come to you by itself. You don't have to even to do anything about it. There will be no
So
enemies.
if you're a Russian and they send you to the front lines and you try to run away, your own commanders might kill you, right?
Yeah. There are a few lucky people, lucky and I must say resourceful people who are able to give up to Ukrainians and save their lives and be in relatively comfort zone. But there are very few because Russian people behind the lines, they would not allow anything like this. So they'd rather send people to the so-called meat attacks, where you send, say, a unit of 100 people. They're all being decimated. Let's see, 2 are alive. The 2 alive are coming back. They're giving another 98 people. And in half an hour, they start a new meat attack in exactly the same place where they were decimated just half an hour ago. And that goes on all day long.
I saw a photo. If you try to run away, your commander might strip you down to your underwear and duct tape you upside down to a telephone pole as punishment.
Yeah.
And in the winter, so you may not survive that punishment.
Yeah, but I mean, what a waste of assets. I mean, the thing is, it's just like Aleppo. Syria is finally trying to get it together, but they just devastated one of their largest cities. I mean, I don't get the benefit, the cost benefit. It seems to me that it's a negative. They're not doing anything positive there at all, and I think it's a waste of resources, waste of assets, just a complete waste. And,
I'll just mention one thing. In all these negotiations, which I don't believe will lead to anything, however, Russians today need peace more than Ukraine. Russia is now becoming much more proactive in this negotiation, changing team and doing all that and so on. And they are extremely lucky to have Trump on their side. Now, why Trump is on their side? look at Epstein files. It's all there. It's all there. It hasn't been redacted. It hasn't been done anything. Okay, here is a phone call with Churkin, who is now dead, Lavrov, and the first people from Russia visited White House after his first came to power in 2017 were Russian officials, Lavrov and Kislyak from the Russian embassy in Washington. So this is, and they had a huge plans to make a special telephone line from Washington to Kremlin, which neither FBI or CIA or anybody could detect what's going on and what they're discussing and so on. So nothing has been changed. He's been corrupted by KGB since 1979. It's
It's been around for a while.
That's
Well,
so
to me, it's another stupid European war. They all line up on two sides. I don't know if you've seen them. They shoot each other and they kill each other. They collect their bodies and they walk away. Oh boy, that's just brilliant.
except that Russians are killing a lot of civilians, women.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, the Russians have no morals.
Ukrainians are not doing that at all.
Yeah, I did notice that, but the thing is, most of the people are not really interested in this war. I don't even think the Russians are really.
But it's all cards are in hands of Russians. What Ukrainians can do to stop the war? To give up? To resign? To capitulate?
No.
What else?
No, you definitely don't want to do that with a Russian. I wouldn't do that at all.
So
I would not have Russians as my overlord. Remember what they did last time. I mean, the Russians aren't the nicest people in the world. Sorry, Sasha. I would not. I definitely would not let Russia win at all costs. I'd rather be dead than Russian. Seriously, because the thing is, they're horrible.
Russians understand only power.
Yeah, that's right.
Even when you're on the streets of Moscow, if somebody comes to you and say, "Oh, give me $100 or so on," you just punch him in the nose. That's the only way you can deal with that.
Yeah, and they understand.
There's no other way.
Yeah. It's kind of a difficult situation over there. Although I did find out there's a nonstop from Istanbul to Moscow if I wanted to go, but I think my American passport wouldn't do too well over there. In other words, because when you go, you always have to present your passport. Where are you from? Why are you coming here? What are you doing? And so I don't think it would.
Your safest thing, if you want to fly to Moscow, you stay in the hotel room, order food service, and then don't leave. Not in even hotel, but even your room. Just stay in your room. If you have 3 days trip to Moscow, you stay 3 days in your room, ordering meal service and so on, and then leave as soon as you can.
Well, when I was in St. Petersburg, I was able to walk around. Everything
it was different time, though.
It was different times, but right now, an American in Moscow is probably not a good thing to be. So it's not on my travel itinerary. I'll go see Sharif and Dhaka first. It's like only 2 stops rather than going.
Aruba would not be a bad place to visit. Who's that?
Which one?
Aruba.
Yeah, you are
Aruba.
It's not the worst place in the world to visit.
Yeah.
Actually, now I decided to break my pattern, and this time I went for holidays to Curacao.
Oh, Curacao, Netherland Antilles, yes.
Yes, so I've been there before, and I just wanted to. You can't go every day to Aruba. You need something on a lower scale to appreciate what you're getting at Aruba. So Curacao is nice. It's not a completely wrong place for holidays. What I would say, it's a poor man's Aruba. That's all what it is. Everything you have, everything what's on Aruba, but a little bit cheaper, a little bit not so well run, and so on. So again, so now I have.
Well, we're going to have to go because we're at the hour, and we're going to be starting with David Walker's show. So we'll see you on there coming up next on the Pod TV network. So out we go.